don't even want submissions. He wants to hurt your face. Literally watching Gaethje train one time will make you understand that he is something special. He is something to be respected. I don't care how clean your technique is. If you don't put him away, he is a problem. He's gonna just pound you.
Hold on tight, because Ilia Topuria's shocking new recovery footage is breaking the internet, leaving absolutely everyone completely stunned by how fast his mangled face miraculously healed itself overnight. We are breaking down those insane visual receipts very shortly, but
he can stop the fight. I didn't hear what he said until I understood the language where he was like, he said it a certain way, and the third time I heard it, I was like,
we're going to finish the fight.
We're going to finish the fight. And he was talking to the ref. He wasn't talking to Ilia. So I took it as Ilia was like, dude, I can't go on. And when you hear that from your athlete, you have to make that right choice. I'm like, do we take more damage or do we go on? So, okay, me. Nothing left. Okay, it's over. It's over. Stop it. Yeah. I'm always there to protect my athletes, and it's very nice to be able to work with people that have the same goals as me. My goals is I'm never going to be a champion. I'm a championship coach, but I'm not a champion. And being able to work with people that want to chase things like that, I get so much joy out of it. Seeing the concern in his brother's eye and the way his brother was pulling the hood off, like, bro, don't be embarrassed. You fought your ass off. Like, that is special. That is like, everybody's making fun of like the way he was putting a hood over his head. When you're down, you're down. And, you know, again, to be at the level that he is at took the most courage to get to that point. And what he's done to the guys prior to us. His brother was telling him, pull that off, dude. Like, don't be down. We lost. And when you lose a round, doesn't mean you lose a fight. When you win, when you lose a fight, doesn't mean you lose your opportunity for a championship.
Do what I did in the sport.
So what do you think it will take Ilia to get back to fighting again after such a loss?
Ilia's he's gonna be in a good position. He has faith. He has a strong team. And that's a lot what it takes. He has a work ethic. I think he's honest with himself. Ilia and I, we share the same agent, and we were talking about him earlier today. And what I heard was that he's humble, that he is honest. He realized that he just didn't perform well. And I think that's the number one step of getting back into the ring in a healthy way. It's the guys that make excuses. That's when it's hard to come back and win that rematch. Guys who just say, you know what, I could have did better. I could have done more. Honesty with yourself is the key to MMA. Knowing exactly who you are, what you've done, what you haven't done. You can't lie once you get in that cage. What's real.
The ultimate GOAT John Jones claims surviving a brutal reality check inside the cage has absolutely zero to do with pure talent. Instead, he dropped truth bombs stating you must swallow your pride once the devastating tears dry up. Delusional fighters making pathetic excuses stay stuck in the mud, whereas absolute legends accept their horrific mistakes and come back 10 times deadlier. It is a terrifying mindset that separates actual historic UFC icons from one-hit wonders. Surprisingly, the human highlight reel Justin Gaethje aggressively echoes this identical cutthroat philosophy from a totally different angle.
What you said going into this fight, Justin, that was so unique was, I've already lost. I've already put myself in the worst scenario. Fear is a great thing, and understanding that the worst case scenario, when you put yourself in that scenario, and what that does is that causes you not to hesitate, and you have such a unique mindset to that. Where did that come from? Where did your mindset come from?
Definitely all came from wrestling. I wrestled so many matches, and, where I was mentally, it was a big factor and a big variable when it came to my ability to compete. So just understanding that I, had control, and really just keeping it so simple, keeping it as simple as possible. Not confusing things, not overinflating things, and just...
This psychotic savage mindset perfectly explains why Justin Gaethje remains the most durable weapon in MMA. Forget perfect outcomes. He actively prepares for the absolute worst nightmare, enabling him to brawl without a single doubt once locked inside. That identical mental armor was screaming loud against Ilia Topuria, leaving outsiders beyond the UFC space completely breathless, and a major boxing legend quickly dropped a brutally honest, totally savage take on the whole disaster.
That he would knock me out and whoop me and Shakur at the same time, that was in reference to Ilia, right? I got that one right.
Sure, definitely. This is my first time seeing him in a fight, and the first impression wasn't the best impression. That's just me. And for him to come out and say he gonna beat me, one of the best fighters of all time, knocking me out, I think it was a sign of disrespect. You know, like, you're not respecting my craft, which I would never go in the MMA and disrespect them and say, oh, well, I'll choke you out or I'll do this, I'll do that, when I know it's going to be a tough task to do, because they've been doing that for so long that they know the ins and outs. Just like boxing. I've been doing boxing since I was 7 years old. There's no way that this guy is going to come in there and do anything to me that I ain't never seen before. So seeing him get hit with the jab and the 1-2, the whole fight, I'm like, what? I'm like, what's everybody excited about? You know, he threw some good body shots. You know, he came straight forward like any straightforward fighter. And
the undisputed King Terence Crawford absolutely destroyed the humbled challenger, shouting that the real tragedy was not just that Ilia Topuria got brutally humbled, it was his toxic, delusional arrogance beforehand. When the fallen champ arrogant talked his way into hypothetical crossover megafights against living boxing deities, Crawford took it as an toxic insult to his entire legacy, barking that perfecting the sweet science demands a grueling lifetime just like mastering MMA. Agree or not, this explosive call-out triggered absolute chaos across the internet, with thousands screaming Crawford was completely right after watching that devastating knockout. Naturally, delusional fanboys argued that trash talk is just show business and everyone needs to stop crying. But while toxic...
You know, tough kid, obviously. You know, after the first round, his eye was bothering him. You could see that he got hit. And at one point, he, like, started covering his eye like this. It was kind of, you know, messing with it. And then, you know, Justin just kept busting.
Topuria is going to need time to recover mentally, emotionally, and physically. He's never lost before. This is gonna take some to overcome. One of the things that was Topuria's greatest weapons, greatest strengths, greatest traits, besides his overall ability and technically be sound, and he was a full package. He really was. Talent-wise, technique, everything. But one of the things foremost that leads the way for all those things to mean something is
the big boss Dana White finally dropped some promising medical updates on Ilia Topuria, but the legendary Teddy Atlas just highlighted a much darker psychological nightmare ahead. Sure, shattered bones eventually fuse back together, but surviving the absolute mental trauma of your very first career obliteration is a completely different demon. For years, Ilia strutted around with the bulletproof arrogance of an invincible king. Rebuilding that shattered ego is going to be way harder than fixing his face. Meanwhile, a highly controversial moment involving his grotesque eye injury is setting
reasons, but clearly here he is not able to track, says no, fight needs to be off. When he goes back and does this again, like, I think this is probably just somewhat like, okay, give me the answer that we all want to hear. It doesn't even look like he really moves his finger the second time through when Goddard goes back in, and I think Goddard was just stepping in to say, no, I think the fight should continue, but it clearly looked like a situation where he was overruling what the doctor was recommending. And that is definitely a concern. I think you have to be very careful. And part of the reason why I don't want to personally cover combat sports in person, like ringside as a physician, is because like that balance of you're there to keep the fighter safe, but yet the fighter is engaging in something that is inherently dangerous, where they're trying to essentially hurt each other, is a really difficult mix of kind of your obligation to the wellness of that individual, because this doctor needs to know that, of course, Gaethje is going to try to keep targeting the eye. And so that balance of like, what is safe to continue going through a combat sport versus like
the expert medical breakdown just exploded the biggest ongoing controversy in combat sports history. When should officials legally stop a brutal execution to save a fighter's life? Referees are forced to make life-altering decisions in milliseconds under absolute high-pressure chaos, meaning fans are almost never satisfied. This historic bloodbath is officially the new poster child for referee incompetence. But while toxic fans kept screaming over the controversial stoppage, a jaw-dropping new video
appears to have made a full recovery after his loss at UFC Freedom 250. In a new video shared by his hairstylist, Louis Blesson, the former champion is seen with no visible injuries or marks on his face. Some fans questioned how quickly Ilia Topuria appeared to recover after taking so much damage in the fight. However, the Instagram page Cage Culture shared a direct message from Luis Blesson confirming that the video was filmed after the Justin Gaethje fight. Topuria has...
Plot twist, Ilia Topuria is officially banned for 6 months post-disaster, targeting an early 2027 comeback where a blockbuster revenge rematch against Justin Gaethje is already brewing. Will he survive the sequel? Drop your spicy predictions right down below. That medical tea completely destroys the biggest lie surrounding Ilia Topuria's condition. Just because his horrific facial swelling vanished does not mean he is magically cured. Broken facial bones heal way differently than the skin outside, meaning a fighter can look totally camera-ready while their skull is still literally glued together, which is why doctors aggressively ban full. The heavyweight king Tom Aspinall never slept on Justin Gaethje. He highly praised Justin's explosive power, elite wrestling, insane durability, and veteran experience, yet stubbornly insisted Ilia Topuria was the vastly superior, more complete mixed martial artist overall. That delusional hype is precisely why the ultimate savage Dan Hooker barks that every single legendary fighter eventually hits rock bottom. The true test of a champion is never the humiliating defeat itself, but whether they resurrect their career afterward. Some broken fighters completely vanish forever, while elite sociopaths return 10 times deadlier, which is exactly why frantic fanboys are already obsessing over Ilia Topuria's hypothetical redemption arc. Meanwhile, the conspiracy king Bryce Mitchell just dropped a totally different bomb, hinting that hidden personal drama outside. The outspoken Bryce Mitchell is not claiming to possess the exact dirty details regarding Ilia Topuria's messy personal life. Instead, he is exposing a dark reality that actual cage fighters deeply understand. Absolute mental focus is just as crucial as brutal physical conditioning. Hidden personal trauma can completely destroy an athlete's performance in ways casual fans will never comprehend. While these theories remain pure speculation, millions of shocked fans are still frantically digging for answers behind one of the most unbelievable, historic upsets of the entire year. One massive detail keeps exploding in every single post-fight autopsy. Ungrateful fans are refusing to give Justin Gaethje his well-deserved flowers. Elite fighters are actively praising his lethal jab, slick footwork, supreme patience, and masterful ability to survive Ilia Topuria's early explosive onslaught before completely taking over the cage. Sometimes an arrogant champion does not lose because he played badly. Sometimes the hungry challenger simply puts on a historic, career-best masterclass. But while that fierce debate rages across social media, an entirely separate, highly controversial incident from the match continues to deeply infuriate Gaethje and his entire inner circle to this very day.